What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a full 1-year review of the 3DR Solo. Let's go ahead and unbox this thing again, show you guys. So in my 2 previous videos I had this 3DR Solo. I picked it up for a really good deal during a great time. And honestly, this thing has really been just a really awesome drone. The build quality of this drone is still amazing in my eyes. Just the overall feel of it, the sturdiness of it, the actual weight of the drone, it feels really good in your hands. The propellers themselves, super easy to install, very simple. The overall look of this drone, I'm really surprised it didn't get bigger. The overall look of this drone is amazing. It's similar to any videographer's camera or any photographer's camera. It's an awesome looking drone. The color of it is amazing. The battery itself, it's humongous. And everything about this thing is really just awesome. I really have never had any issues with this drone at all, other than my own error where when it got windy one time, I decided to do the circular flight in between 2 houses, and it ended up circling in between 2 houses. That's why you'll hear me say a lot that I don't really enjoy automation, because that right there happened in that situation. Some of the pros for this thing is the battery life is, compared to a lot of other drones, it's actually pretty good. The weight of this drone, the ability that it has to lift up this much weight is really amazing. I think that this drone could be used for larger projects. So I don't know if you guys know this, but 3DR has actually gone to the larger commercial market with videography drones. The 3DR Solo that they use is actually the same body, drone, and everything, except the gimbal and camera is an entirely different camera. This drone right here can hold a gimbal and camera with a micro 4/3 sensor inside. So compared to everything else, that's pretty amazing. I'm sure that there's other drones and other things you can set up on other drones where it could fly and do that. I've seen where people have rigged up other gimbals to their drones, but you don't have the controllability that the GoPros have with this drone. So that's kind of the setback. Another pro about this drone is that it's really simple to use. If you look at it, when you first get it, you put the propellers on, it tells you how to put them on, it gives you the numbers. The battery is easy to click in, you don't have to synchronize like crazy. You get the controller out, you turn it on, you turn your drone on, and you're ready to go. The controller is really simple. The gimbal control is really smooth. I can say that this is actually smoother than my Mavic Pro. It's more dialed in. You can get more accurate shots with it. That may be just because I'm used to my 3DR Solo because I've flown it so much, but it seems like this one is a little smoother to handle. The actual movement of like the strafe left, strafe right, the pans left and right is actually really smooth. Like I said, there's really no issues with that. The mount for this is really well set up. The quality of the controller, honestly, I think the quality of this controller is better than the DJI Phantom series. It feels stronger in your hands. I believe it lasts longer. The controllers on it gives you feedback. It gives you individual digital feedback on here in case your battery or your phone runs out. The battery on this thing is humongous. You can actually swap out the battery if you need to as well. But I believe you can actually upgrade the battery on this. Then, I mean, like everything else, you have your extra set of propellers, you have your charging kit, which is very similar to the DJI. Honestly, it's like this thing was set up to be the DJI killer. Unfortunately, it was a little too short on time, and when they had their initial launch, they kind of messed it up by having glitches in their system with the GPS. And I think that's really what killed the 3DR. Some of the cons, I would say the battery life isn't anywhere near as long as the Mavic Pros and the Phantoms. It's close, but it's not. It's in the 15 to 18 minute range. I would like it to be like 20 minutes. Those extra few minutes can actually make a big difference. I feel like this thing doesn't fly as long as I should. Honestly though, 15 minutes, 18 minutes is actually a really long flight time. It really just depends on what you're doing and what you're using it for. If you have spare batteries, that's not a big deal. For a while, the 3DR had a lot of spare batteries going for cheap, but as you can see now, the 3DR has actually picked up traction in the drone world because of the price, and that's actually why you see a lot more of these on the market right now. Another con right now that really just, it sucks for the market for the 3DR is that the gimbals, the availability right now for these gimbals is crazy ridiculous. I think right now the going price per gimbal is about 150 bucks, which is ridiculous. I mean, it was 150. It was a lot more expensive when it came out, but when they were going on sale, when these things were selling out, people were getting rid of these. They were super cheap. The gimbal I got was 30 bucks at Best Buy, which is an amazing deal for that gimbal. It just kind of stinks right now because a lot of people have the 3DR, which you can pick up right now at Best Buy for 200 bucks, and the gimbal is just crazy expensive. So if you were to get the 3DR, I wouldn't expect you to get the gimbal. Make sure that if you're gonna get the 3DR, if you're gonna buy one and you want to have the 3-axis gimbal, maybe find a used one with the 3-axis gimbal for a cheaper price. Because if you get the 3DR body, it's not always gonna have the gimbal. If you get it with the gimbal, great. If you can't, keep a lookout on the gimbal prices before you actually purchase the 3DR, because I think right now they're kind of reaching their high limits. It really just depends on the availability and if 3DR is going to eventually make more. Yeah, honestly, the cons for this thing, the application for the software is really not that bad at all, but there's like the automation thing. I don't really like that. I wish this thing had sensors like the Phantom 4 and the Mavic Pro. It doesn't have sensors, so like I said, when I was flying around the house, it crashed right into the house. There's nothing I could do. The motors are really strong. I haven't had any issues with this. I've actually I've flown it in really windy conditions, and it's actually handled really well. I'm really surprised how well the 3DR does in those windy conditions. It compensates for large gusts of wind. It lets you know when there's large gusts of wind. If there's anything that may be bothering it, it'll let you know. So that's a pretty good thing to have in the 3DR Solo. But honestly, that for the cons, that's pretty much it. I really can't say anything bad about this other than the battery life. It is a bit heavy, I will tell you that, but with any drone this size, you're gonna get that weight issue because of the battery weight. It's really easy to work on. I've actually pulled this thing apart twice, but the interior, everything else, it's really just the battery that causes all the weight issues. The propellers, the motors, very simple. You don't really have issues with that. Another con, it's a major con that actually I should mention in the beginning. Sometimes the GPS can take long to synchronize. I would say it can be anywhere from 30 seconds to good, up to 3 to 4 minutes. It really just depends on your situation. I found actually in the countryside it works better with satellite, because I think the issue with this is there's a lot of interference from Wi-Fi signal and other signals that are blocking it finding that. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't know if that's how the Phantoms work, if it gets the GPS beforehand, but that's something that happens with this. I don't know what the issue is with that, but it's something that's still prevalent. It's not a huge issue. You just if you want to pull this thing out quick and fly it immediately, you're not going to get that. You're going to get that GPS wait time. But honestly, that's pretty much all I can say about that. The thing about this 3DR, man, it's really just treated me well. It's done really well for the vlogs. I love flying this thing. It is a bit scary at times because it doesn't have the sensors, but I mean, it flies really easy. I think any beginner would definitely be really well with this. It's got really good beginner settings on the controller. The application has good beginning settings. I think right now the coolest thing about this 3DR is that it's becoming an open source drone. Like it's picked up by the open source market, where Arduino chips are coming into this thing. There's actually aftermarket gimbals you can get for this. I don't know if they have the capability to view and control the cameras yet, but that's a big deal. If they can do that, that'll actually drop the gimbal prices down and allow it to be more cheap. And honestly, for the price of it, right now it's at 199 bucks, brand new at Best Buy. They were selling the refurbished one for 150 bucks not too long ago. I think that's actually a really good deal for a drone. This size, this capability, it's really, really good drone. Would I recommend it, spending 300 bucks on it? Honestly, because it doesn't have the gimbal, because the price of the gimbal now, I would not recommend spending 300 bucks on it now, just because of that gimbal price. I don't want you guys to go out there, spend 200 bucks on this, expecting you to find a gimbal for the same price I got, and being disappointed. That's not something I would like to do. So I would say, if you want just a drone with a GoPro, by all means pick this up. If you're expecting a gimbal, because of the availability of gimbals right now, I would not recommend picking this up for 300 bucks. Like I said though, there is some future outlook. There will be possibly an open source gimbal add-on where it's basically aftermarket. You can put it on yourself and control it. Hopefully you can view it through the app. That's something they're working on, but as of right now, it's not something I'm seeing that's really going on right now. I think it's a great drone. I think the 3DR is awesome, but there are better drones in that price point. I think the Phantom 2, I think the Phantom 2 and the 3 may be better depending on what on the camera quality. Phantom 3s and 2s usually go about $250 to $300 right now, so I think that may be the better option just because it's already got the camera, it's got everything ready for you. You don't have to worry about adding on the GoPro afterwards and getting the gimbal. So you're just gonna spend more money on the gimbal and the GoPro camera. If you already have a GoPro camera, that's not a big deal, so you're good to go. So I would not recommend this unless you have the gimbal and the GoPro already for $200. I would say don't pick it up. I think that the Mavic Pro is a great option to start out with. However, the price is super high. The DJI Spark is amazing. The price on that actually went down a lot. So right now you can get the DJI Spark for $350. However, that doesn't come with a controller. So there's kind of that balance in between. You're really looking for, do you want something this size or you want something that size at that price point? So you really just have to balance it out. Honestly though, I will stand by my previous statement that this thing is amazing. However, with the availability of the gimbal, I'm a little worried for those of you who are currently looking to pick up one of these. Yep, well that's the vlog tech review for today, guys. I just wanted to give a quick follow-up. A lot of people ask me questions on this, just so you guys can understand what's going on with 3DR right now and give you some info and some inside tips. This thing is amazing. I will not discount this at all. I'm really sad to see that this thing did not take off as good as it did, that they had so many issues with startup. It's an amazing drone. The footage on it with the GoPro is amazing. It flies awesome. The technology in this is ridiculous. There's so much you can get out of this. We'll see what the 3DR has in the future. I'm really gonna keep this thing. I'm gonna keep this thing on the back burner until I get a better camera and we can get some better software upgrades for this. My Mavic Pro, it does a great job. It has 30 minutes of battery life, has a really good 4K camera. Until I need anything other than that, I'm probably gonna use a Mavic Pro, but you will still see videos on the 3DR in the future. I just wanna let you guys know that right now. This thing is still amazing. All right guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the 3DR, feel free to leave in the comments below. If you like drones, if you like 3DR, if you like anything to do with tech, hit that like button, guys. All right guys, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.